Hello and welcome to NOV Live. I'm Michael Gaines and glad you are joining us today as we continue our ongoing conversations with technical experts and subject matter experts as we bring innovative technology and conversations straight to you. So we're glad that you are joining us today and look forward to having a great conversation on some leading innovative technology that's really helping shape and lead the way especially as we look into this new digital era. So glad you're joining us. So before we dive in and get to our guests today, we want to bring in someone who's a regular here. So Shelby Dumaine, who is going to let us know how you can be a part of the conversation today. Hey, Shelby.
Hey, Michael. So as always, there's a couple different ways that everyone watching at home can get involved. The first way, and probably the most simple, is whether you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can just comment below. If you have a question for our experts, maybe a comment, maybe you just want to start a little bit more conversation about what we're talking about, then definitely feel free to comment below. And I usually like to say as like a little practice in the comment section, if you want to let us know where you're watching from, we definitely always love to see where our audience is tuning in. And let's say I see, just looking really quick, I see Brazil, I see San Antonio, Texas, I see South Africa, Saudi Arabia. So that's awesome. I love seeing everybody tuning in. And I'm in those comment sections throughout the entire show. So I'll be seeing all of your comments. And we're going to get to as many questions in that Q&A at the end of the episode. And alternatively, if you're watching, you can also email us a question. We're checking that live during the show as well, so we'll be receiving those. But also, you can email us after the show if you have an idea for a future episode, maybe even more questions. You want to get a little bit more in depth about the topic. And that email is socialmedia@nov.com. So that's on screen now. And then the other way you can get a hold of us is by giving us a call. So we have a voicemail set up. You can call us, leave your message. And I always like to say you can stay anonymous, or if you want to let us know your name, maybe where you're from, we would love that as well. And that number also on the screen is country code +1 346 223 4799. So we absolutely love hearing everybody tune in with their questions and comments. And so that will be the part of the show. We'll be looking forward to hearing what questions you have for us. But before that, it is time for us to ask you a question. It is time for Rig Geek Post of the Week.
Rig Geek's Post of the Week.
All right. And as always, I think I maybe could read between the lines. The Rig Geek question is a little bit of a hint of what's to come here on the episode today. And we're going to ask you the question. And then at the end of the show, we're going to actually reveal the answer. So between now and then, if any of our Rig Geeks in the comments, if you think you know the answer, go ahead and type it. And we're going to see who can correctly guess it. And so we're talking today about lateral links. And I think we all probably can expect, and we all know that they've come a long way, pun intended, over the years. And so today we're asking about how long are average extended reach lateral lengths today. And you can answer in kilometers or in miles. And just as a little, maybe to gauge, back in the day, about 6 years ago, they were around maybe 1 mile, maybe 3,000 feet, somewhere in that range. So if you think you can guess how far they've come and about how long those extended reach lateral lengths are today, go ahead and comment that in the comment section below. And like I said, at the end, we are going to reveal the answer.
All right. Well, thanks, Shelby. Yeah, that sounds like a good trivia one. I always like seeing those answers. And as you said, certainly seeing where folks are joining us from. So it looks like we've got some folks that are watching from Peru. Looks like Rio, Saudi, and let's see, we had the UAE come in, some folks in North America here in Texas. So that's great. Well, thank you all for joining us. Some rather late in the afternoon, some midday. So really appreciate it. So for today's conversation, we are going to be talking about a really interesting offering here from NOV, and it's actually the Cerberus version 14. And to help set the stage for our conversation, we're going to play a quick video for you and then dive right into our guests. So take a look.
In the field or in the office, you need real-time information for completions and production, operational data, engineering feedback, asset management. Our premium software suite, including Cerberus 14, puts it all at your fingertips, wherever you are. Your field engineers get reliable data in real time for faster, better decision-making. Your district managers get insight across their entire fleet to analyze, predict, and optimize operations. And the entire organization gets a complete picture to create efficiencies and real-time process improvements that reduce NPT and increase your bottom line. Cerberus 14 integrates our industry-leading suite of evaluation, intervention, and operation software within an all-new cloud-connected user interface. Plus, our suite of intervention software, including CTES Live, offers immediate access to your field data with true cloud connectivity anywhere in the world. The future of completions and production is connected, and with CTES, you have the tools and information you need to meet any challenge. To learn how to connect your future operations, contact your sales representative or visit nov.com/CTES.
All right. So as we just saw, our topic today is the Cerberus version 14 is our topic. And to help give us some insight into what that is, what that means, and how that can provide value to end users, we're going to go ahead and bring in our guest today. So we have two guests today, Noah Buck, who is the business development manager, and we also have Travis Thomas, who is one of the sales managers here at NOV. So Noah, Travis, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining.
No, happy to be here.
Appreciate it, Michael.
So, so we had that video that gave us a good overview of the Cerberus version 14. And so maybe first question out of the gate for me is kind of after watching that and kind of hearing high level some of those items, how does this particular solution, especially being a cloud connected interface, benefit end users, benefit customers who are in potentially in the market for this type of solution? And maybe I can lead off with you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think that is the most important question. We're so used to being connected today. We're connected on our phones, our houses are connected, our lights may be connected at the house. So it's just intuitive that we should be connected. But the real reason is why, and how do you benefit? And to answer that question effectively, I think we need to really quickly unpack where we're at today in coil tubing. How did we get here, and what's the change that has really drove this need to be connected? And to start with that, let's think back prior to the Haynesville Shale, prior to real unconventionals where we're doing this really long laterals, more than 20 plugs in a well. And prior to that, we were doing conventional wells. Everything was vertical wells, and we're going into one, maybe two or three pay zones. They're really thin pay zones, are going into some traps, and they all react different. So one well a couple miles away could be completely different from the well that you're working on today. That type of operation requires management, service leaders, engineers, a lot more expertise at the well site. And so that oil field was driven directly at the well site and not from the office. The office was coordinating operations, but not driving what was happening on location. We turned sideways, and now coil tubing is required on the majority of wells to do the drill outs. We were doing TCP runs, drill outs, setting plugs, many different operations, but we were staying in the same pay zone. And what that caused were a lot of canned drill outs. The procedures now were just the same procedure over and over and over again. So we started pulling the people to the office. The engineers started moving to the office. The service leaders started moving into the office. And so while we're not taking away any of the expertise from the field guys, that's not what's the intention. It's that we're knowing that most of the personnel with the years and years of experience are now at the office, and keeping them in the fold and connecting them with the will is going to give you the best chance to drive efficiencies, keep everyone safe, stay within the set parameters that you intended to start the job. And so it's really non-subjective, complete workflow connectivity is what's going to drive efficiencies and what helps the whole industry just get better daily.
Mm.
And across teams that are disparate, that are separated by distance or time zone or whatever it is, we want this cloud connectivity to do the connecting at their workplace so that they can synchronize projects, synchronize tool databases, synchronize understanding of assets and where they are in their operational life. So that we can shorten and reduce the amount of emails and communications that we all have to deal with and get everybody on the same page more quickly.
Right. And maybe to your point just now, Noah, when you talk about CTES and it sounds like some of the expanded capability, could you maybe expand on your last comment? What components of CTES are cloud connected now?
So, of course, Cerberus 14 is cloud connected. We've been working in this space connecting operational data from the Orion Net acquisition software with the Orion DAS on location and coiled tubing and now snubbing and other applications in the intervention space, and putting those online and making those available. So that people can get a heads up on what's happening right now on your location, understand the narrative from the sensor side, understand the narrative from the comment side, and really bring that understanding of those things from the office to the field, again, coming to the same page. One of the most important aspects of what we've connected is essentially the documenting of fatigue and using the leading fatigue modeling capability that's out there in CTES Cerberus is the Achilles Model 5.0, and essentially this can unify everybody's understanding of the documentation that happens in real track, live on location, and get the benefit from being able to record those jobs, save that fatigue at the point of the well site, and have those jobs be able to automatically upload themselves into the cloud and be available for review, for analysis, and just for, frankly, good documentation's sake. I used to spend a lot of time behind a windshield, driving to and from location, collecting data, coming back to the office, rerunning data, bringing it out to the field. We want to help people to be more efficient, and acknowledging what Travis was saying there at the beginning about there being generally less resources available, where people have decided to streamline their operation for any number of reasons, economic challenges included. So this is acknowledging and meeting the challenges that a lot of our customers are facing today, and they're where they've already had to put themselves for one reason or another.
Mm. So maybe we can pivot slightly and talk about a little bit of history, or looking kind of in the rear view mirror, if you want to stay with your driving analogy. So this is Cerberus version 14, which means that we obviously had versions 1 through 13. Can we talk about what those improvements have looked like? I know every time I have a piece of software and come out with a new version, I'm always, of course, interested in the new features, but also kind of want to make sure that mentally I can appreciate where we've come from. Could you all talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So Cerberus has been a standalone Windows-based application for a long time, and has always been a software that prided itself on being able to meet the theoretical with the actual of the field. And for a long time, through our latest versions, 12.7, over the years, going back over 25 years now, those things have lived separate from one another, apart. And they've also had a certain look and feel that's been pretty consistent over the years. So we felt that 14, because of world we're living in, because of the need for connectivity, deserved not just a functional upgrade in terms of being able to make assets and strings and projects and all of those things unite, but we wanted to also give it the user interface upgrade as well, give it a better look and feel, that felt like it was standing today. It's still the leading software in terms of engineering and intervention, period, the most widely utilized. So we felt it at least deserved that for doing such a great job over the years. Importantly, where you know all the things are that are in Cerberus, those haven't shifted. So it's still that workflow that you know and trust and are used to using.
Yeah. So what we were explaining at first is a step change in the market. You had decades of the oil and gas industry working in one manner, and we had a very drastic step change in how the wells reacted and what we were working on. And now Cerberus is getting that step change to move forward into the future. And one key point to note is this wasn't developed for this global pandemic that has put so many people working from home, but this was forethought, years in the future or years in the past to get to this point today. And it just happens to fit right where our industry is, with so many of the engineers, managers, coordinators that don't necessarily have to be on location every day, that now they're working from home, but we can reconnect them to the field.
So if you're just joining us, we are talking about Cerberus 14, an offering from CTES. And if you have a question for our subject matter experts today, you can go ahead and put your question in, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and we can get that in our question and answer session coming up in just a few moments. So we're going to go ahead and actually pivot over to you, Travis, and Noah. Certainly want to get your way in as well. As we're looking at the offering that obviously has been developed with a really robust team of folks that have been focused on really getting this to where it is today. Can you maybe shed a little bit light, maybe pull back the curtain a little bit and talk about the next step for CTES, especially as we're looking at this kind of cloud-focused approach and integration? What does that look like? Because obviously we've been able to take the power and the value add that the Cerberus software is able to offer, have that in a cloud capability. But what does that next step look like as you're looking down the road?
Yeah. So that next step is not just cloud-connected Cerberus and modeling and bringing those strings back to you, but it is CTS Live, and then even moving forward from that. So CTS Live is actually cloud-connected workflow. So you can see the whole job, but you can also do live friction matching and live force monitoring of your coil tubing unit. So you're actually doing the engineering job. You're doing that role from the office, but within 100% connectivity to the field. You're connecting the comments, so you have all the context, you have all the values, and you have all the engineering. And I'll push it over to Noah, because we're actually going one step further than that for metadata and the rest of the workflow.
So what's exciting about CTS Live is that it's the foundation we're using to move into the access portal, where we have things like MaxMT, the maintenance CMMS. We have Ops Scheduler, the operations planning tool, the digital whiteboard, if you will, that reports and gives you summaries of everything you're doing. So it's really important that we be able to connect the engineering feedback with the operations data, being able to quickly catch up and understand exactly what condition your operation is in. Dovetails very nicely with the condition-based maintenance and monitoring that we're doing with GoConnect, and how that allows you to see the full end-to-end picture of essentially every decision you make with the thing that you need to do to get that job done. What's the mechanical consequence upstream, and how do we relate those things to what we have to do operationally, understand what's best practice, drive things away from dangerous situations, be able to get the full context of what everybody's seeing on location, and being able to take the force monitor feature that historically has been used locally with Cerberus at the point of the machine or in the office to analyze and do friction matching after the fact, is now fully possible to remotely connect that to your operations job, before as a planning tool, or after, to get a quick catch up on where have we been, where am I at right now, and making sure that you're on path. So we're developing a lot of technologies that benefit from the long pedigree that Cerberus has got in terms of being able to provide valid calculations and feedback in real time about what the job is doing, while lightening the load from not just a computational standpoint, but also just a coordination and workflow standpoint, being able to get that feedback faster and
Well, so speaking of real-time feedback, we want to give our viewers some real-time feedback by transitioning over to our Q&A portion and getting some of those questions in. I know that Shelby's got some on tap for us as well, and Travis and Noah. I know that you guys you're here because you want to have rapid fire answers. So so we're going to go ahead and do our best for our viewers. So Shelby, I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. So this first question comes from Kayla on Facebook. And, I think a lot of people are familiar with the coiled tubing application for Cerberus, but she's wondering what other intervention applications that Cerberus could be used for.
Absolutely. The short answer is anything in the completion space and anything that can be censored on location. So Cerberus, CTS Live, OrionNet, the CTS software suite can be used for coiled tubing, wireline, nubbing, workover, any fluid components, the pumping units. It's really encompassing of everything in the completion space.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then this next one, so can you talk a little bit more, and I know you did talk about kind of how people can work from the office now or from home, they don't have to be on site, but can you talk a little bit about how Cerberus helps with collaboration between teams or between people?
For sure. It helps a great deal. My experience in the past has been, running models, creating projects for customers, sharing those things from a reporting standpoint was not a hard thing to do, but sometimes getting just 2 or 3 engineers that were separated by offices and distance and time was not necessarily an easy thing to do. And the typical exporting and emailing and all of those things are challenges and clicks that, given the way how much we work in our email today anyway, aren't a thing that anybody should have to work on. So we created it so you've got both offline capability and online capability on purpose, so that people can share projects when they're created, check them into the cloud, instantly have their team have access to it, control access to that team, be able to manage it properly, and really QA/QC their whole database of projects, and really be able to leverage being able to look across all of the things that they've done, because we learn a lot from what we've done in the past, and it's great to be able to leverage that empirical knowledge with the model results and what we expect to go forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think collaboration between teams, that's extremely important. So I think that's very interesting. This next question comes from William on LinkedIn, and I have it on the screen here because it is a bit of a longer one, but I'll read it as well. So he's wondering, as an operator, are you easily able to share a link with a customer for login with customizable view, limiting access to what you can allow them to see?
So absolutely, we can share a link to a login, and we can also set up customers, if it's an ongoing customer that you're working for a lot, that they don't have access to all of the jobs for their company, or you can share just that link for that one specific job on that one day. If you're having a high profile project where you want to bring in more than just a customer, but some of the partner vendors on location also, so everyone has viewing ability to that job. Limiting some of the data, that's not really been in NOV's platform or our roadmap, because we want to remove subjectivity from the field. So we want to be able everyone to see everything that's happening on location, but put it in context. And that's why the comment logs are so important to NOV, CTS Live, and OrionNet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I use comment sections all the time on softwares that I use. I always would encourage people that if you have an idea or a suggestion to take advantage of those options. And so this next question comes from Marius on LinkedIn, and it might be a little bit more of a big picture one, but I'll throw it to y'all anyways and see what you think. So he's wondering if there is a perfect formula to make a coder understand engineering or train an engineer to write code.
Man, I think both Travis and I kind of come from the school of put your hands on it and experience it. Yeah. Know what it is, know the application type, and understand what the needs are what the real life situations are and the challenges are that the people at the well site experience. So I don't know. I guess I'd rather have somebody get their hands on it than just code it. But we recognize that we work across an incredibly diverse group of people that come from a lot of different backgrounds and their experience. And there's nothing that beats aptitude, and there's nothing that beats being motivated to learn. And it's great to get fresh perspectives, honestly, on problems and solutions, because sometimes we get too locked into our own bias, and it's good to uncouple ourselves from that when we can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we got another question. So they're wanting to know a little bit about if Cerberus can be used offline, for example, in a remote location. And then if so, what does that reconnectivity look like? Is it once you go back online and you're in the cloud, does it kind of restore that, or sync up that data, or can you talk a little bit to that?
Absolutely. That's a detailed question around the actual software, but the answer is yes. It can absolutely be used as it was always used, as a local software that you are running the job, you're storing the information locally, you can run the simulations locally, and then you can, as soon as you connect, it will upload automatically your live stream. So anything that is a real asset will be an in-service string in this new version, and it will appear in the string inventory view that gives you live updates to each string. The modeled projects, you will have the option to either upload them or keep them local on your machine, so you can ensure that your cloud space for your company is not, doesn't have a lot of extra stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. So I think we'll do one more question here, maybe, unless if somebody else puts any last minute, then I'll ask those as well. But can you talk a little bit about the setup of Cerberus and what's involved with that?
So the setup of Cerberus is really easy. We've got a customer portal that's on our homepage at nov.com/CTES. And so when you have access to it, it's a simple login with your company credentials, download and install on your local machine, and then get an authorization key. And of course, for anybody who hasn't had a chance to use Cerberus, we invite you to get in touch with us at ctessales@nov.com, because we provide 10-day demo access to both OrionNet and Cerberus. If you'd like to get a hands-on view of that, comes with a user guide, comes with technical discussions of forces and hydraulics and a number of other things. And we love for people to, again, get their hands on it, get experience with it, and then ask us questions. And of course, we invite anybody who's inquisitive just generally on top of that as well.
Definitely. So we actually did get a few more questions right there, which I expected we would. So that's excellent. So Gwen on Facebook, here, I'll pull that up. She's wondering, CTES Live allow the user or customer to access field job data, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So that is exactly what CTS Live is doing. It's accessing the OrionNet job that the coil tubing unit or snubbing unit or workover or wireline unit would be running, and it gives you a direct feed to the sensors and the job log that's on location. So every time the operator of the unit or a supervisor, someone that's running the job locally at the well site, inputs a comment, you will see that live in the cloud to really connect you to the job. And it also allows you to do the engineering of the live force monitoring alongside the live feed coming from location.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, we're focused on making it easier for people to get access to understand and analyze the information that they're getting from location that benefits them and the customers they work for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely sounds all good to me. That's what I like to hear. So I think we'll do this. This will be the final question. I know I've just been rapid firing, so I really appreciate y'all just answering these so great and so I'm officially so quickly. So this last one, he's wondering if you, or it could be they're wondering, can you talk about maybe what improvements to sensors technology or automation that maybe is enabled by Cerberus or kind of in that space?
So a lot of what makes controls a thing that's useful is that it makes the operation of the equipment more consistent, but of course it needs good feedback. And frankly, the mathematics in Cerberus have been validated if not hundreds of thousands of times over, millions of times over 25 years, that prove that it does a excellent job of identifying what is supposed to happen when a job is going to take place, and be able to give you visual access to those outcomes across it. So the sensor technologies have advanced. They provide better feedback, better data. That in turn makes the model better, and therefore makes the feedback better to drive controls and automation that are being developed tomorrow.
Great. Well, really appreciate the insight and a little bit of a brief walk through history lane on the developments and improvements that have brought us to our conversation today, talking about Cerberus version 14, thanks to you, Travis, and to Noah. So if folks want to know a little bit more, or want to have maybe more of either a one-on-one conversation, or find some additional information, can you guide us as to the best way for them to do that?
Absolutely. So the best way would be to reach out to CTS sales at NOV.com, and me and Noah, along with the rest of the team with CTS, are all on that distribution list. We will see it personally and respond back to you immediately, and then we can have any personal contact after that, detailed questions, so on and so forth.
All right, great. And I think also you all have a website as well for those that like to let their fingers do the walking. I think that's NOV.com/CTES. I think I checked it out myself today. So certainly another great place, and ability to get in contact with you all as well. So
please do.
Been having a great conversation today. So really appreciate the time talking about Cerberus 14 with Noah Buck and Travis Thomas here at NOV. So thanks to you both for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right, and so we will circle back with Shelby Dumaine to get our question answered. So let's get our question up for folks, Shelby, and get them the answer so they can sleep well tonight. Have closure on this open question that we had. So what was that again? Just for those that may have jumped in right after you went off.
Absolutely. And while I'm reading the question, if you think you know it and can beat me to saying the answer, go ahead and comment that as well. So the question, we talked a little bit about how far lateral links have come over the years. And so we wanted to know if our Rig Geeks could answer about how long are average extended reach lateral links today. And we actually got a lot of really great conversation, a lot of really great guesses. I think the closest I saw was William on LinkedIn. He guessed 2.4 miles. So I appreciate you putting that in. The answer that we have is that extended reach lateral lengths are approximately 3 miles, or if you would like the conversion, that's about 4.8 kilometers today. So definitely, like I said, have come a long way. Literally, and I really look forward to seeing what technology comes out as we go further.
And I'm certain that if there's any dispute on that fact, that Travis or Noah will be more than happy to engage in a lively conversation over or email, or if you just want to divert and talk about CTS and Cerberus 14, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to do that as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thanks, Shelby. And certainly thanks to our guests and as always, our viewers for joining in and being a part of this conversation. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So we appreciate you joining and participating. And if you have any additional questions, as we mentioned, feel free to put those in the comments section here, or you can reach out to us via email or phone, whatever is most convenient for you. So on behalf of all of us here at NOV, thanks for watching and for listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.